We never go into a game expecting to lose. We'll all come out ready to play the ball.
Got to keep building, keep making winning plays, keep doing it together.
Devin Booker puts it in. Tough shot from Booker. Giannis on the follow.
We've been talking about them outworking us. That's the freaking deal. They're outworking.
Devin Booker putting on a show here in the third quarter. It's good. Middleton nails another. Throws it up for Ayton. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. Chris Paul falls down and lost the ball. Middleton inside. He banks it home. The NBA Finals are tied at 2 games apiece. It's a best of 3 now.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What exactly is it that we
do? What they want.
Jalen, we have a 2-2 NBA Finals. The Milwaukee Bucks took 2 at home, and it was Giannis and Chris Middleton in the fourth quarter that dominated this game. Jalen, what do you think about the Bucks last night?
Well, I can't talk about the Bucks until I set the scene. So I was just sitting there thinking last night, this is my 19th consecutive season covering the NBA Finals for national television. And I've seen a lot over the years. So let me just tell you some of the things that was happening you probably saw on TV but necessarily didn't know was going down. My guy Chance the Rapper was in the house. My guy Chris Tucker was in the house. Shout to Dave Chappelle. He was in the house. Adam Silver sat down with the Countdown crew. And you know who else was there, Jacoby? Do you know who else was there? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the Big O were at the basketball game. Dog, this is holy grail to NBA basketball. I was in the building. And the beauty about all of this, now you look out on the floor, I'm like, there's Giannis. I didn't think he was going to play in this series. Oh, wait, he swooped in game 1. He's been terrific the entire time. And how about how he competed defensively? But then in the fourth quarter in particular, it was all about Chris Middleton being the closer. You seen him doing the pick and roll, the snake dribble, keeping his pace, his tempo. You know, he was drafted by the Detroit Pistons in the second round. I've been watching his career and the maturation of it. And Giannis did a terrific job of creating space for him, setting picks for him, and getting them open. Look at that. That's called a pick and pop, everybody. He's not just going one-on-one. That's their offense. And then defensively, how about Drew Holiday? He's kept Chris Paul quiet since game 1. The series started with P.J. Tucker on CP3. They switched that up quick. And since Drew Holiday been on him, it's been lights out, baby. And then also, how about late in the game? And this is why I had to go historic, Jacoby. Did you see the block Giannis had on DeAndre Ayton?
Did I see it?
Hey, dog, let me tell you something. I was, of course, courtside. You know how I do. Shout to the Bucks ownership who showed me love. So I'm sitting down there, Jacoby, and here's the thing. Giannis's help, spin, and recovery was so very athletic, so very incredible that it made me start looking at Kareem like, have I ever seen blocks like that before in the history of the NBA playoffs? And then some came to mind because I want to go historic for you. There's a play, well, 2 plays, where Wilt Chamberlain blocked back-to-back shots by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That happened. How about Tayshaun Prince chase down block against Reggie Miller?
I remember
that happened in the NBA playoffs. What about LeBron James chase down block of Andre Iguodala? So, like, all of those plays, I start thinking, I was like, that was incredible. And at the beginning of the quarter, he got a steal. He got a breakaway dunk. And then later in the game, also, Jacoby, he did a terrific job of getting it in transition and kicking it out in the right corner to Pat Connaughton, who made a 3. Like, these are all dominant plays by Giannis Antetokounmpo. You remember people was questioning, in the previous series, should he go guard KD? He went and did it. Newsflash, nobody's slowing down KD. This is why, and people were questioning this, why was he Defensive Player of the Year if he's not going to lock down? Now, all of a sudden, he give us a historic play like that. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing with terrific momentum after winning 2 games at home.
Giannis didn't have to score 41, 42 points like he did previously in Game 2 and Game 3 because Chris Middleton was the closer. Chris Middleton put up 40 points, but I want to show that block again because let's just look at Giannis's prowess because what he does is he cuts off Devin Booker from driving in the lane and then turns around and blocks the shot. Like, this is a great play from Book. Book threw a great pass right here off the dribble with one hand. Giannis is just everywhere. He cuts off the lane and then blocks the shot. It was such an amazing performance from Giannis, who, again, 26 points, 14 rebounds, but you touched on this too. Giannis turned into a playmaker. He had 8 assists, and in the fourth quarter, he was just looking around like, where's Chris Middleton? How do I get him open? That's basically what he was doing. He was like, do I need to set a screen for him? Do I need to hand off to him? In the fourth quarter, he knew that Middleton was hot, and I always call Middleton Mariano Rivera. He's the closer. He's the closer on this team. It was such a great performance from the Bucks, and Jalen, I'm going to say it. I think the Bucks win the series. I think the Bucks win the series. I think the Bucks win the series. Chris Paul was not himself. Jalen, the same Chris Paul we saw in Game 1 and Game 2, we have not seen since. I think that the Bucks win because Chris Paul is just not himself in this series. What do you think about Chris last night?
I think, man, I played a lot of basketball in my life. 4 years of high school, 3 years of college, 13 years in the league. I'm a dummy. I think that's 20 years. Let me tell you something. Drew Holiday has been on that dude like a straitjacket. I don't care where you play ball at. How about playing pickup? Imagine you at rec, right? And y'all about to bring the ball up, and it's a dude picking you up 94 feet. You're like, seriously, man? Is this what we doing right now? You 36 years of age. You done had back-to-back huge games to catapult the Suns into the finals and win Game 1. And then all of a sudden, this dude is taller, more physical, more athletic, fighting through screens, don't flop, contest with both hands, post you up, try to use his body against you. He playing like he's an older brother. Oh, wait, he got brothers in the league. That's how he playing. And so Chris Paul has to be frustrated. He'll find a way to get going, but you got to give Drew Holiday's defense a ton of credit for how he's playing against CP3.
You do, and oftentimes great performances in losses get overlooked, like Giannis in Game 2. We need to celebrate what Book did last night. Booker was absolutely on fire last night on the road, trying to will his team to a win. Book had so many buckets. Can he get them a win in Game 5 when they go back home?
So it was great to see him respond. And now, here's what's kind of becoming a storyline of who about to win it all this year. Is Devin Booker going to be more of a version of the previous game or more of a version of what we saw last night? Is Chris Middleton, the way he performs at home, going to take that show on the road? How about CP3 turning the ball over? I saw CP3 turning the ball over in the fourth quarter.
Bad turnovers too.
No doubt. So they needed Devin Booker to be dominant, and he was. But I was looking up at the scoreboard, Jacoby, and I was like, wait a minute. He the only person in double figures, and it's almost the fourth quarter? It's almost the fourth quarter. He the only player in double figures. And so when he gets his fifth foul, that's when the momentum started to shift for the Milwaukee Bucks. And CP3, again, has to bring it offensively, had to keep the turnovers down. But I'm with you. Let's celebrate the excellence that was the game of Devin Booker. 2 players scoring 40 points on opposing teams in the NBA Finals has only happened a few times. So it was incredible to see him do it in all phases, do it in the post, do it facing up, do it against whoever was guarding him. He was an equal opportunity employer. He was dominant. But you ready for this? That's how the Suns played before CP3 arrived. Let me say that again.
Yep.
That's how the Suns played before CP3 arrived. So it was good when they were in the bubble when they were 8-0. But they're at their best when they're diversifying, when Cam Johnson gets a chance to make shots, when Mikal Bridges gets himself going, who's had 27 in this series, and Jay Crowder, who hit a bunch of threes in the previous games. They got to spread the wealth when they're at their best. And then finally, where's Ayton? When we talking about Giannis, you didn't mention the fact that we ain't seen Ayton. So we talking about Drew Holiday, and we're talking about Giannis defensively. locking down members of the big three on the other squad. That's why I feel you're saying that you want to see the Bucks. You think the Bucks are going to possibly go on and win based on those dynamics that are playing out.
Do you remember that coaching moment when Monty Williams pulled Ayton aside on the sideline and told him that he has high expectations for himself, but he needs to affect the game in other ways? I got a newsflash, Ayton. You gotta score some points, man. Like you can't put up 6 points in an NBA Finals game when you've done what you've done the entire playoff run up to this point. We need more from Ayton. And Jalen, there's a cliche. The cliche is this, and I know you've heard this a million times. Everyone's heard it a million times. Role players play better at home. And that's exactly what we've seen in both sets of 2 games in this series. Will Phoenix and their role players, the Aytons, the Cam Johnsons, the Campaigns, be able to take a 3-2 lead in this series?
Well, I got something that's matter of fact for you, sir.
What's that, Mr.
Whoever
Rose?
win the next game is winning this series. Period, ... comma. Whoever win the next game is winning this series. And so I believe Phoenix is going to rebound, go home, and find a way to get those role players to play better. But you show Ayton stats. The telling one is 0 for 0 from the free throw line. That means also Giannis is not only defending him, but they're playing him without fouling him, which is huge for a young player to find a way to get yourself going and play yourself into rhythm. But it's going to be a long series. Prepare for a 7-game.
Jalen, it is time for you and I to break something down in detail. Let's go to the table. There were some legends, as you mentioned, watching the game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Oscar Robinson, and there were some legends watching the game that had nothing to do with the game of basketball. Look at you. Look at you with Dave Chappelle and Chris Tucker.
We talked about doing a comedy bracket, right? Who better to put on our board of directors than 2 legends like this? Dave Chappelle, the icon. Chris Tucker, the icon. In stand-up, in movies. These guys have been doing it for decades in television. I'm standing between 2 legends in the comedic space, and Jalen and Jacoby will be doing our comedy bracket. Those 2 guys will be part of the consulting team.
Look at the Chappelle Show chain on Dave Chappelle. Look at the Chappelle Show chain. We always talk about championships and banners. He has a championship in his rafters. The Chappelle Show, the greatest television show of
Chris
all
Tucker
time.
too now. Chris Tucker done jumped out there and got $20 million in movies.
Please. Chris Tucker's a legend in his own right, and you too are a legend, Mr. Rose. Russell Wilson. Do you remember when he was complaining about the Seahawks? Well, he says that everything is all good, and he and Pete Carroll are best friends again.
Funny,
do you believe him?
7 days
we'll
can change.
Right
it was all good just a week ago.